Okay, alright. Just gonna test to make sure that the volume in the stream is coming in alright. Just one moment. Alright, based on what I can see, it looks like the volume is coming in alright on YouTube at least. A little bit of background for everyone. I am multi-streaming for the first time ever. So, hopefully there's not any issues and anything like that, but, just trying to make sure that we're up and running on, in all facets. Okay, so as you can see, we got some big topics that I want to talk about in this stream. Specifically, obviously, AFCON will be the first one that we talk about. Going on then to the Mark Gahey signing officially announced at Manchester City today. Of course, most people knew that was going to be a thing, but today it officially was announced by City. Fabrizio Romano, pictures of him at City. Frankly, it just makes me completely and utterly sick. We're going to get to the third topic, which is the title of this stream. Obviously, the likelihood that Arne Slot gets the sack from Liverpool. We'll kind of parlay that into the potential of Xabi Alonso becoming the next Liverpool manager, and then we'll wrap it all up with some winter transfer talk. Not too much really going on in the winter transfer window. Of course, obviously, the transfer window in the summer is always more of a something that's shaken rather than in winter. To start off with the AFCON final, obviously Senegal won, but I don't even think that is the real topic of the conversation. It's more the idea of how the entire situation panned out, because it was shocking, to be honest with you. If you didn't see it, AFCON final between both Senegal and Morocco in Morocco. Obviously, going into the game, we've seen Senegal get to the AFCON final. It was a fairly close game from what I saw in the highlights. Senegal got a little pissed because, well, number one, there was a bunch of hubbubaloo going on the entire damn game. Things like I've seen the ball boys from Morocco taking away towels for Mendy to try to dry the ball and use a towel like all goalies do when it's raining out and shit like that. So that was, first and foremost, just a weird little thing that was going on there. But then also, too, on top of that, Senegal scored late, and it was ruled off, and it was maybe the softest overturn I've seen in quite some time. They said the Senegalese player pushed off, and he just didn't. Then Morocco was given a late penalty kick, which was also pretty soft. Then Senegal players decided, we're just going to leave the pitch. And then a whole issue happened where people were barricading the referee from the Senegalese players, which was insane. And then, obviously, it resulted in Sadio Mane being like, we have to come out and finish the game. Brahim Diaz decided to chip the penalty like a psychopath. I don't know where on earth he gets off thinking that it's okay to try to chip the ball in that moment. I think that's frankly crazy work. It was saved. And the thing is, I saw Brahim Diaz. This is just, I think, a good rule of thumb. If you have the balls to do a Panenka penalty, right? Don't cry after. Okay? If you decide after all of that hubbubaloo, right? All of the, the people going after the referee, the Senegalese players, leaving the pitch and stuff like that. A lot of nonsense, a lot of controversy going on. The fact that you're going to then try to chip the ball is psychotic. It's weird. It's psychotic. It's strange. I think that you can't do that. That can't be your decision. Oh yeah, I'm gonna chip the ball. What kind of nut job does something like that? I don't understand it. Just 1 second. I want to make sure that the sounds come in and go. It is. Yeah. The AFCON for me was insane just in general. Frankly, credit to Senegal. I understand why they probably were pissed. I would probably be pissed as well. So yeah, I can't really blame them for what happened because frankly I'd be fuming if I was them as well. Just absolutely bonkers work from the officiating. Not only the officiating, but then on top of that, the fact that they had people stealing the towels away from Mendy so they couldn't dry the ball is banana land. Just 1 sec, I'm trying to make sure that the volume's coming good on the other streams. Yeah, this is sick. Being able to multi-stream is actually a beautiful little thing, I have to tell you. But moving on. Obviously, another massive story has to be the fact that Mark Gay is going to, well, not even going to, it's been that he was going to. Now it's the fact that he's, Mark Gay is going to be signing with Manchester City. I believe it's on a 5-year deal, which sucks. If you couldn't tell from the sign in the back, I'm a Liverpool supporter. Just breaking down the entire saga with Gahey. September 1st, he was announced as a Liverpool player. That's not an exaggeration or anything like that. He was going to Liverpool Football Club on the 1st of September 2025. Crystal Palace said no because we're not going to have a center back. And then now, just 4.5 months later, he is announced as a Manchester City player. 20 million. 20 million, I hate that people are arguing that the 20 million transfer fee is a bargain. I actually don't think it is. I think Liverpool were going to pay 35. But Liverpool were going to pay 35 for an entire season. And then you had the likes of City are now paying 20 for less than half of a season. Granted, you're paying 20 to basically make sure that nobody else gets him, which I think is probably beneficial. But it's still it's still not good. It's still, you're paying more than £1 million per game that Gay plays for City. I don't feel as though it's a bargain whatsoever. And that's been what the narrative has been the entire time, as though it's some sort of bargain. Oh, 20 million for a player of Mark Gay's caliber. Now, of course, I would say in a realistic, given that you're only getting him for less than half a season, you're probably, a realistic estimate for that time would be 12 million. But you're paying the extra 8 to make sure that nobody else gets Gay. So, sucks, but like, I do recognize that you're effectively, you're realistically paying a premium to make sure that no other team is getting this player come the summer transfer window. Because that's what I think, to be real, is I think probably he wants to leave. He wants to leave Palace, right? And then on top of that, you have the likes of City want to swoop in and make sure that he doesn't have a change of heart come the summer, which may have happened, by the way, because apparently he's had a change of heart in the past couple of months. It was like people will not remember it correctly, but like literally it was announced Mark Gahey is a Liverpool player. Like it was known that he was just going to be a Liverpool player, and yeah, I really can't believe this happened. I honestly it is what it is. Liverpool are still going to have to find a center back. The problem is that if you were to tell me months ago that this was going to happen, I would just say whatever, because we'll just keep Konate. But now, since then, Konate has basically just gone downhill in a certain extent. I don't want to disrespect Konate too much, because he's been a very, very good player for Liverpool. But let's be real, bro. He is not the player that he was a couple of seasons ago. Even last season, Konate was a much better player. That's not the case anymore, and we need to find another center back. Now, on the heels of all of this, the center back that I've seen is really, really heavily linked with Liverpool is Mickey van der Ven. I mean, decent. I like Van der Ven, but like I can't help but feel as though if that's who we get instead of Gahey, it's a little bit of a letdown. Van der Ven has always struggled a little bit with injuries. Obviously, an extremely quick player, which is a benefit as well. But definitely, I do feel as though he's not the best player that's probably out there. But who are we realistically going to go in for? I mean, Virgil's getting older. That's a huge problem for Liverpool. Gahey was the answer, and Gahey's no longer coming to Liverpool. That's fine. It sucks because I think the plan for Liverpool was we'll get Gahey in on a free, and Konate will leave on a free. It will be like a 1-for-1 swap in a certain capacity. That's not happening anymore. We're just gonna have to deal with the situation at hand and hope that we find a good Liverpool or a good center back for Liverpool. Another thing is too, the Leone kid played very well in the first game that we saw him play for Liverpool. Are we gonna get to see him play more for the club? Obviously yes, but an ACL injury, it always makes me a bit worried. I'll be real, because it's such a big injury. We'll see. We'll see. Van der Ven I don't think would be a bad signing, depending on how much we pay for Van der Ven. So, it is what it is. This part with Gahey hurts because it makes us just look bad when we're in for a player and a big club says, hey, actually, we're going to come in for him. He's now going to play for us. And also, too, on top of that, the fact that City are pretty much in a title race and we aren't. And, I mean, are City really in a title race? Not that much. I think Arsenal are going to run away with it in a certain capacity. I think you can make an argument that Villa are in a bigger title race than City. City looked like shit this past weekend against United. But the reality of the situation is Liverpool have looked worse. The near future of Liverpool is going to come a lot more into question than probably our fans want it to. It sucks. It is what it is. Maybe we'll re-sign Konate. At this point, with the Konate situation, I wouldn't mind re-signing him. And if we were to re-sign Konate, because I don't think he's going to go to Real Madrid. Like, the story behind the Konate situation was that Konate was going to leave at the end of the summer to go to Real Madrid, and Guehi was going to come to Liverpool. That was what all the reports were saying. We were going to lose a player on a free, but then we were going to sign a player on a free. Since then, Konate has performed subpar this season, not to discredit him or anything like that, but not up to the standard that we've historically always thought Ibu Konate would play at. Branges said, no way Madrid get Konate. Yeah, I don't think so, man. I think, sorry, let me update my chat box. Yeah, I don't think, Branges, I don't think Madrid will get Konate. I think that was the narrative for a while, and then with the way he's been playing this season, I don't see why Madrid would. If he goes to Madrid, he's not. I don't see him being a regular starter. You know, I see more him being a rotational player. You know, I think that's more likely than him. What we initially thought and what initially was being reported was that Ibu Konate was going to go to Real Madrid, and he was going to be the big replacement, the new center back for Real Madrid. And he said, I just don't see them wanting to invest in Konate when, sorry, I'm messing around with the font size on my chat box. I don't see them wanting to invest in Konate and him play the way he's been playing for Liverpool this season. I just don't see that being the case. Just doesn't make any sense for Real Madrid to go in, put that big investment into Konate for him to essentially be playing the exact same way he's been playing this season. And now, not to really, shit on the player too much. He has been playing better. Like, I'm not going to act like, that's not the case. He definitely has been playing a lot better the past couple of games. But mistakes have been made, and I think Liverpool need to bring in a new center back. If Liverpool are going to sign Konate, we need to bring in another center back regardless. Because let's say he turns his form around and gets back to playing the way that he was when he was playing very well for us. That's fine, but we still need another center back so that if you start playing like shit, we can then replace you. I don't think he's going to re-sign to Liverpool, personally, because I think he's going to be on big money now, or expect to be on big money now. Maybe he doesn't go to Madrid, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's other big clubs who are going to come in and basically say, we'll pay you 3 times the amount you're getting paid at Liverpool, which I'm not entirely up to date on what his wages are at Liverpool, to be honest. But I really would not be that surprised if a big club came in and was like, we're just going to throw money at you willy-nilly, and we'll see. But the Guehi situation sucks. We kind of got lowboyed by Man City, if we're all being real. It is what it is. I hate it. I hate City. It's horrible, but end of the day, like, that's a player that would have done well at Liverpool. But I guess it wasn't in the cards. And I guess he had second thoughts about, coming to Merseyside in the summer. Don't really blame him, because I think there's a good chance our manager might be sacked. Now, through my streams and stuff like that, a big thing that I have consistently kind of talked about with Slot is I question whether or not the club are going to sack Slot, come the end of the season, or if it's going to get to the point that the club, the hierarchy at Liverpool just say, well, we have to sack him like now in the middle of the season. And people have said like Liverpool aren't a club to sack their manager mid-season. No, but Brendan Rodgers basically got sacked. The difference is that we basically courteously, in the same way I guess Real did, was just kind of like, yeah, we're gonna part ways. That's like what you do when you have a good relationship, but the manager's underperforming, and you do ultimately want to part ways, whether the manager likes it or not. We're gonna say we're gonna part ways. That way, when you go looking for another managerial position, you're not gonna just get screwed. That's what Liverpool did with Rodgers. They did it with Kenny Dalglish a little bit as well. I think that was less to do with like him getting another job and more to do with like the respect that the club had for Kenny. But I think if Slot gets to the point where we start really creeping out of a top 4 race, I think then we're going to get to a point where Liverpool are going to make a change at manager. I don't think we're there yet by any means, just because of our position in the table. I think our position in the table makes us look a lot better than the results do, because we're still in a top 4 race, but ultimately we're dropping points to the likes of Leeds and Burnley. And so far, Liverpool, I said this on my last stream, Liverpool have not won a game in 2026 in the Premier League. The only game we did win was against Barnsley in the FA Cup, which is a huge asterisk on the club just to even begin with, because it's Barnsley in the FA Cup at home at Anfield. So realistically, I think the next couple run of games are going to be really, really important for Slot, and I'm going to read them out for you right now. I think we have Marseille is maybe our next game. I believe maybe midweek this week in the Champions League. I could be mistaking that. Marseille on Wednesday. That I believe is away as well. I think that's in France. I believe it's in France. That's a must-win game given where we are in the table in the Champions League. So that's another aspect of it. I'm talking about the pressure on Slot and things like that, just down to, where we are in the Premier League and staying in a top 4 race. You also need to emphasize us and where we are in the Champions League and being successful there as well. We can't get into a situation to where we're falling out in our position in the Champions League, because realistically, I won't be surprised, guys, if in like a hypothetical scenario, if Liverpool make a decent enough run in the Champions League, maybe we get to like the quarterfinals, get knocked out, let's say, and we get 4th. Do you sack a manager off that? And the problem is that I think Liverpool have been abysmal and it's boring football to watch. That's my biggest issue, is that people will say, well, why are you going to sack your manager? Why are you talking about how you want your manager sacked when you're closing in on, you're in European spots? And to a certain extent, I understand that. But we're in a tight Champions League. It is tough for the hierarchy, because Liverpool are currently in 4th, 1 point above United in 5th, and hold on, I'm getting all of the standings pulled up here. 1 point above United in 5th, 2 points above Chelsea in 6th, 3 points above Brentford in 7th, 3 points above Newcastle, 3 points above Sunderland, and 4 points above Everton. We're about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 There's 6 clubs behind us currently that are within 4 points of us. And then even if you want to go further, you can go to like Fulham, who are 31. I don't think that's as much of a real threat because it's 5 points off. That's where it starts to get less likely, where, you know, that could make like a real difference maker. But nevertheless, you know, you start talking like, you know, 4 or 5 points, like the amount of teams that we're competing with at that level. Sorry, dropped something on the ground, couldn't pick it up. It's this fucking string. You know, you start talking about the players or the teams that we're going to be competing with. It's not easy. It's not a layup. And these teams are picking up results that they should. United just won the Manchester Derby against City. A game, 3 points that not everyone thought United were going to win. Most people, frankly, thought United were going to lose that match, right? So you take that into consideration. Then you take Chelsea beating Brentford. Not an easy game, especially they have a brand new both teams have brand new managers. And I've seen reports that basically it's like Liverpool are not planning on following the trend of their Premier League rivals, United and Chelsea. They're gonna stick it out with Arne Slot, and it's like it's not a trend. Like we're nobody would be like, oh, Liverpool sacked Slot because United sacked Amorim and Chelsea sacked Maresca. Those are, I would say, even Maresca and Amorim are 2 completely different situations. Like comparing all of these situations to one another is stupid. It's you have Liverpool, United, Chelsea. Liverpool, Premier League winning manager last season, does deserve some grace. I'll be the first one to say it. As much as I want the man out of the job, I don't think he's been good enough. I do understand the mindset that it's like, you know, he does deserve a bit of grace. He does deserve a bit of respect. But then you have, under that, you have United. United had a manager that, frankly, in my opinion, was inept, and then crashed out on the club in a post-match press conference. And also, too, one of your brightest young talents, Kobbie Mainoo, couldn't touch the pitch under him. You put Michael Carrick in charge, and he's like, hey, here's a bright idea. Let's play Kobbie Mainoo. And they win the Manchester Derby. Everyone's turning around being like, oh, look at this. Well, United won the Manchester Derby. Yeah, Kobbie Mainoo's good. United not playing a stupid 3-back actually could be fairly decent. I didn't think they'd beat City. Don't get me wrong. But, you know, they definitely, you know, I would say I didn't think that they were as bad as they were playing. And I think Amorim was out of his depth to a certain extent. For those of you watching along, please make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell, also get in the chat, get in the speak pipe, all that stuff. Then, after United, you have Chelsea. Chelsea, I thought the Maresca sacking was weird, but then when you start to hear about some of the things that were going on kind of behind the scenes and shit like that, some of the you know, the fact that the guy intended to write a memoir of some sort, I think that is odd. I don't really understand that. You know, you won, you know, Maresca, good manager. I don't understand why he needs to become an author of any sort. You know, you won the Club World Cup. The reputability of that contest in general has come into question by many people. I actually think it was very entertaining over the summer, but it's a weird, the format is completely new, and why Chelsea were in it was weird to even begin with. It was because they won a Champions League years ago. Like, it was just strange. But they won it. I also thought that there was good stuff coming from Enzo Maresca. All that to say, all of the managerial situations are completely different between those 3 clubs. Regardless of the fact that they're 3 big English clubs, the whole situation surrounding all of them were completely different. So why am I seeing the reports? It's not that the reports I'm seeing are Liverpool are deciding to not continue or deciding to give more grace to Arne Slot. It's Liverpool are deciding to not make the same decision that United and Chelsea made. United and Chelsea shouldn't come into the conversation. It's a completely different situation. Completely different clubs. Like, I don't get it. I really don't. I don't know why. And maybe everyone else hasn't been seeing that. That's all I've been seeing is, well, Liverpool aren't going to make a decision right now, similar to United and Chelsea. Could not give a shit about them. Honestly, I really, really could not care less about them. Sorry. Just moving on now. With all of that to be considered, Xabi Alonso and Liverpool Football Club. I really want Xabi in at the club. I think most Liverpool fans do as well. Sorry, one sec. I think Xabi Alonso would be a great fit for Liverpool Football Club. I think he plays a certain style of gegenpress football that, was very, very akin to the likes of Jurgen Klopp. Obviously Klopp's been gone, and the signings that Liverpool made in the past transfer window, of course, were focused on Arne Slot, because given last season, I don't think anyone really thought that it would be likely that Slot would not be performing well and that Liverpool would maybe want to move on. But I think we get closer and closer to that every single day. Unless Liverpool are to really firmly get top four this season, and not really be in a top four race, which I expect Liverpool to be in a top four race, I think the hierarchy at the club are going to have to make a decision to move on from Arne Slot. And that's when Xabi Alonso comes into play. Now, I think just knowing how Liverpool operate, and everything in that consideration, I think that Liverpool are not going to sack Slot until the end of the season. That, for me, worries me about the Alonso situation, because Alonso's out of a job now. Okay? Alonso being out of a job now does not help Liverpool in the summer, because a job could come along for Alonso. Right? The Mark Gahey situation. We were nearly about to sign him, and we didn't. 4.5 months later, he's a Manchester City player. There's been talks about Pep potentially wanting to step down at Manchester City. Those have been real talks. And a lot of people have said that those conversations about Pep stepping down at Manchester City, they believe that, that just means that we're going to see Maresca take over City. Potentially. What if we see Xabi Alonso want that job, though? Are City as a club going to be basically say, no, we'll take Maresca instead of Alonso? I'm not so confident about that. And who knows? All of this is basically, not real. It's fictional. It's conversations about what potentially could happen. Nothing is done and dusted. But we could see Pep Guardiola as the Manchester City manager next season, of course. But there's been talks about him wanting to leave. There's other jobs out there. Sometimes Liverpool supporters get a little too arrogant in the sense that it's like, oh, Xabi Alonso needs a job and our manager sucks. So, of course, he's just going to put everything else in the back burner and he's going to want to be at our club, right? I'm not 110% confident about that. Liverpool are going to be a little bit more of a project than people probably anticipated us being several months ago. Like, it's the truth. Like, I don't see how people don't recognize that. It's going to be a lot more of a project than many people would have thought. Now, with that being said, it's a project with Jeremy Frimpong and Florian Wirtz, two players that Xabi Alonso has a lot of familiarity with. So, the fact that we took two of his players from that Leverkusen job, they're now at Liverpool. Is he going to want and be more eager to come to Liverpool, given the familiarity he has with the club, the history of being a former player, and then the familiarity he has with some of the roster as well? Potentially. I mean, I could definitely see that being the case. But I just worry about it because I just know my club, and I just know my club is going to keep Arne Slot in at manager until the end of the season. I just know Liverpool. Been watching this club my whole life. I just know how we work, what we put an emphasis on, and what we put an emphasis on is waiting and giving respect to managers that we feel as though have earned the respect. Because we sacked Brendan Rodgers when we had, and again, I use the term sacked loosely, because I do believe in theory we sacked him, but the publication was that he stepped down, that always had, the same thing with Alonso at Real, he stepped down, which I think is a respect thing, right? But he stepped down after not reaching the success that we wanted for him at Liverpool, i.e. winning the Premier League, because we came so close. Slot won a Premier League his first season. So the club's going to give him a lot more grace than maybe the fans want them to. And I understand it to a certain extent, but I just think that with how football works, I don't think people realize how important it is, number one, being in the Champions League, and number two, being in a Premier League title race. Liverpool, Tony Macca said, Alonso won't go City, Luis Enrique probably will. I agree with you that would probably be more likely, Tony. I do agree. That is definitely probably more likely that Enrique will go to City. It just feels a bit more, I don't know the term, a bit more on par, a bit more realistic. I feel like Enrique's style of football at City would make sense. But then the Maresca thing comes in that so many people are saying Maresca left Chelsea and parted ways with the club because he's going to prepare to take over that City job. But then where's that put Enrique? People have said maybe Enrique at Liverpool. And I've had people in previous streams say, well, if we go out and we get Alonso now, then it hinders us from getting Enrique in the summer. Which I get to a certain extent because, Luis Enrique is a Champions League winning manager. I like Alonso. He's a former player of Liverpool. He's a top manager from my view. I think he got a little bit of a raw deal at Real, but the difference is that I haven't seen him win a Champions League. And last season, Enrique was dominant in that run where they won the Champions League. And let's not forget, too, PSG were a bit of a work in progress, too, that I think, obviously he had talented players at his disposal, but he kind of got the best of some players that people had some questions of. Of course, Moussa Dembele, but then, getting the best of some young players like Desiree Doué, Vitinha, what he's become, the motor in that engine, in that midfield. I definitely think, he's a top manager. And yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Enrique goes to City, but also too, all of this with whether it be Luis Enrique or Maresca going to City, this is combos that we're all just assuming Pep is going to leave City. I'm not completely sold on the fact that that's a reality. Like, I've seen enough reports that makes me think it's probably true, but I would expect Pep to go out on a high, and that's either the Premier League or the Champions League. Now, maybe he won't. Maybe he's like, I've already won enough. Like, I don't feel the need to go out on a high, but that would be my expectation from Pep. Maybe that's not the reality, and maybe he does leave. But if he does leave, I would probably agree with you. I expect it to be Enrique or Maresca. You know. And again, all of this, like I've said, I'm not 110% sold on the probability that Liverpool are going to sack Arne Slot. Like, I'm not sold on it. It's just not how the club works all the time. You know, like the club, a very loyal club, very appreciative of people that have had success at the club, but we'll see. Guys, if you're watching along, please make sure to like the video as well. Get below in the chat, as Tony just did. Subscribe to the channel. Click the notification bell as well. I believe I'm 19 subs away from 1,000 on YouTube, so I'm right around the corner. So any and all support, guys, I really do appreciate it. Yeah. And also, if you're following along on Twitch or Kick as well, sub, like, get in the chat. This is my first time multi-streaming, so I don't even entirely know how those streaming services work, but I appreciate you watching along as well. You know, I guess last but not least, and I would like some chat involvement for anyone, winter transfers. You know, obviously I started the stream. One of the first two topics was Mark Guéhi to Manchester City. That obviously is one of the biggest topics currently going right now. But, oh, hold on here. We got a chat here from Tony Mack. He said, I think Slot will be the manager until the end of the season, unless we fall off a cliff. Then Alonso will become our next manager unless Slot wins the Champions League, which I doubt. We are one defender injury away from a crisis. Yeah. We really are. We really are. Because the only other option at defender, I think we pretty much have excuse me, is Joe Gomez, which, let's be real, guys, I don't want to disrespect Joe Gomez because he's been at the club. He might be, to be honest with you guys, one of the longest standing players at Liverpool. But unfortunately, I don't think he's good enough, and I think he's been at the club for far too long. Sorry. Maybe that's a shitty thing to say, but it's how I feel. And with that, if we get a center back especially injured, we're in dire straits. Left back's not as much of an issue because we have both Kirkez and Robertson, and then obviously at right back we have Frimpong after the Connor Bradley injury. But like, if hypothetically Frimpong got hurt, which he's already gotten hurt once or twice so far, oh, sorry, one sec. Sorry, I just closed out my chat bot. Now with the likes of Connor Bradley out, if Frimpong gets hurt, Liverpool are going to be in complete and utter crisis mode. Like, complete and utter crisis mode. Because we would have to put Joe Gomez in at right back, right? And then with Joe Gomez in at right back, effectively what we have then is that if any center back or right back gets injured, we are screwed. Screwed. We need a center back. Like, there's no question about it. Like, that goes into the winter transfer aspect of it. Is that we need? I think we need to sign a winter, or we need to find a center back now. We'll see if that happens. But yeah, sorry guys. Oh, here we go. The chat box back up. Thank God. DX said, I finally tipped towards Slot out, but only if a new permanent manager is to be appointed. Otherwise, keep him till the end of the summer, shake hands and move on. Interim manager is dangerous. Then Geta says, there's so much conversation around Slot, I don't see him staying. I agree. I agree with both of you, especially DX. I definitely do agree with what you had to say there about keeping Slot if we can't appoint a new manager. My thing is, we could appoint a new manager now. Like, but with, and we got another one here from DX. Oh, thank you to someone just subscribed. I forgot to see who it was, but thank you very much for subscribing to the channel. I really do appreciate you. Interim manager is dangerous. Stevie comes in and does well and gets the gig. He won't succeed long term. Sets us further back in the long run. Yeah, I agree. I think if Stevie was to come in and do well, you can't sack him then. Like that would be Maverick has subscribed as well. Thank you very much, Maverick. Yeah, I think if Stevie does come in and does well, we're not going to get rid of him. That is a huge issue that I have with putting him in as an interim manager because of the respect that he has. I like Stevie, and I'll be real, if we bring Gerrard in, right, and I'll be happy. Like, I grew up watching Steven Gerrard, as I'm sure a lot of you did. Like, if Gerrard comes in and Gerrard wins us like 2 matches on the bounce, the vibes at Liverpool Football Club will be immense. But again, like, and I think that United are kind of, Dopamine is now subscribed. Thank you, Dopamine. I appreciate it. We were talking about it as well, like, comparing it to Chelsea and United. Like, if Carrick does a good job, they're going to keep Carrick at United. I think that would be the same thing with Gerrard. Becoming Human is now subscribed. Thank you very much, Becoming Human. I think I just gained like a bunch of subs in just that short period of time. So for all of you subscribing, I really, really do appreciate it. Yeah, I think I think United are going to go through kind of a similar situation because, if he does well, you have to keep him. Here we go. Geta says, I wouldn't say sack him now, but at the end of the season is a must. But I don't see Slot staying overall. Management terrible. Intensity. Thank you, Peter, for subscribing as well. Yeah, I think thank you, Rosenbrod. End of the season, he's got to go. But let me ask you a question, Geta. Right? What you said, end of the season is a must, but you don't see him staying overall. Hypothetically, right? If Liverpool get like third or fourth, right? Top 4 for sure. And we get to the quarterfinals or the semifinals of the Champions League. What do you do then? That's where I fall into a weird one. Is that, like, Slot won the Premier League last year. Like, he could go on a good run of form. Like, that is very much a possibility to happen, right? If that happens, what do we, like, the narrative is going to be then at the end of the season to keep him. Because how do you sack a manager that gets you to the quarterfinals of the Champions League and you get top 4? That's basically setting a really tough precedent for the next manager. That's why sacking him now almost would make a little more sense to me because Liverpool haven't been playing well. So if you sack him now, at least then it's like, well, all right, Liverpool have been pretty shit recently, so we just sacked him. You know, like that's my outlook on it a bit, is that it's like the unfortunate nature of it is that he could turn it around, and that sounds shitty to be like, oh, like, because as Liverpool fans, we want our manager to be playing, to be performing well, but like, if he does turn it around and performs well, we're in a tough spot. Geta said, and I'm sorry, my chat box has been screwing up, so it hasn't popped up on stream. He said, I think the opportunity of Shabby being there slightly altered the decision to keeping him. The narrative will be to keep him, I agree, but their first choice is available. Yeah, that's my whole thing with it, is that we now have like probably our top choice. I think he would have been our top choice even after, or even before we appointed Slot. I think Alonso would have been our top choice. Now we're in a situation, where what do we do? Like, do we sack him now? Do we keep him around to the end of the season and give him the opportunity to turn things around? Because he turns things around again, like, I don't see how you sack a manager if he gets you success. Tony said, it's not the position we finished. We spent almost $500 million in the summer playing the most boring football ever. We won't get far in the Champions League. I just don't see it. He's not the right fit. I agree with you. I'm speaking in like hypotheticals. Like, and I think the Champions League one is probably the biggest hypothetical, in my opinion, because if you go far in the Champions League and you have Champions League football for the next season, like, sacking him is just, I just don't see how you do it. Like, because the precedent is shitty. Whereas if you sack him now, the precedent is if you draw at home to Leeds and Burnley, you get the boot. See what I'm saying? Like, that's my thought process about the entire thing, is that it's tough to sack a manager. Number one, it's like, and I get what you're saying, we've invested way too much money, right? But hypothetically, right? Let's say we invested all of that money and we were in a title race with Arsenal and we like just missed out from Arsenal. Just missed out. Like, came in second. Lost the title by 2 points. And then we also got to the semifinal of the Champions League. We're playing fun football. The result would be the same. Geta said, I agree with you too. I'm speaking in hypothetical too, and we can possibly go far in the Champions League. But if FSG are looking at data, styles that suit Liverpool, etc., I think they make a decision. Yeah, I would agree. Yeah, I think I understand what Tony's saying, is that like it's not even about the place in the table or anything like that. I don't think that that's really what the club should be looking at, not really what the fans should be looking at. I think what everyone should be looking at is the football. And the football has been poor. It's been boring. It's been unsuccessful. And we're in games where, like, we're drawing to Burnley. And it's not because the players are playing bad. Like, I don't think we're playing our best football just in general. But I think we're, like, remaining in these games just simply down to the fact that, like, we have brilliant players on our team. That's like my thought process on it, is that, yeah, we're the results are not as bad as they potentially even could be because we've got some of the best footballers in the world on our team. You know, like, it could be 10 times worse. 10 times worse. And the problem, though, is that, if we don't get Champions League football and as soon as you stop getting Champions League, and I've seen this with Liverpool in the past, as soon as you stop getting Champions League, players start leaving. Like, it happens, like, it maybe not after one season and not getting Champions League football, but the longer you go, like, if you go 2 successive seasons without getting in the Champions League, players start to be like, what am I doing here? Why am I wasting away my career on a side that's not getting me Champions League? I'm just being real. Like, it happens. Yeah. I have to be real with you guys. I can't lie. Like, as soon as that starts happening, you might as well count your big stars, and it's less of for me, I think it's like less of an issue for like the players that have been there for seasons, Salah, Van Dijk, even though they're getting older. What ends up happening is that you have like a guy like Ekitike, right, we just signed. He's playing brilliant football for us. If Liverpool don't get Champions League next year, he might be like, all right, like, fine, I'm going to stay for one more season. But then if we continue playing shit and we don't get Champions League football after that season, these guys that are talented young players are like, well, I'm not going to just waste my career away not getting Champions League. I'm going to go Barca. I'm going to go Bayern. I'm going to go Real, where, like, I'm going to play in the Champions League each and every week. I've seen it happen, whether it be with Liverpool, United. It just happens. And at least, I think actually United, it's a little different. I think that, like, some of them, what ends up happening is, they end up at least at United, you get put on a contract that, like, will generate wealth for your family that you could never even imagine. So you're like, all right, like, it's damn near like being at Saudi because I make $300,000 a year, or $300,000 a week rather. Sorry. So I'm just gonna, like, show up, get berated by the Manchester United media, and see what happens. But yeah, I think when it comes to Slot, I think the big move has got to be. I think we definitely need to get him out. The time of when, personally, I think it would be great to get him out now. I think that will happen? God no. But we shall see. Put it that way. We shall see, because it's looking bleak. It's not fun watching Liverpool anymore. Like, that's the thing. Like, it's really, really boring and really, really, like, depressing to watch Liverpool on a weekly basis. The Burnley game, I feel a little bad for the players, because it's like, the Burnley game is a perfect example of, like, Szoboszlai missed a penalty, and then after the game, people are like, well, if he makes that penalty, things are different. Of course, that definitely is the case. I think if Liverpool go 2-0 up, there's 0% chance that Burnley are able to get any sort of result at Anfield. But the difference is that, like, those should not be, like, the only opportunities for Liverpool. It shouldn't just be like the penalty from Szoboszlai and the goal from Wirtz. It should be like we're generating several different opportunities. And the issue with how Liverpool are playing is I would describe it as being like remedial issues. You know, we watch the Burnley game, and we get the ball into the attacking third. Someone has the ball out wide, whether it be like Frimpong, Kirkez, Gakpo, and we have numbers in the box stationary. Not one guy pulling out to check for a pass as another guy is making a run in behind the back four to try to create some confusion. No, it's just stationary. Because if you have four guys in the box, right, and you have one guy check to a pass, if the defender follows him, then you can have another attacker running behind, create a different opportunity. But if you just have them all stationary, if the defender doesn't check, then, oh, all right, you could make that pass. Maybe he turns and gets a quick shot off. But if you're just stationary, no chances are going to be generated. Like, remedial shit. Very basic football that we're just not performing well. We're not creating chances. It's embarrassing in a certain extent. I'll just be frank with you guys. But let me know you guys have any other comments in the chat. Please let me know. I'm trying to get my chat box up and running. I'm having a little bit of technical difficulties. But let me know if you guys have any other comments you want to make in the chat. I also, in my description of the YouTube video, I have a Speak Pipe. It's a website where you can call in, leave a voicemail, and I'll play it live on stream, and I'll respond to it. So please make sure, if you'd like to do that, call in, drop me a voicemail, I'll play it live on stream. But if you do it, just let me know and leave it in the chat that you called in, because I don't check it unless I know that someone's called in, and I haven't got a call in a while now at this point. So appreciate you guys. But let me know what you guys think. Any other topics? Those are my big topics from today's stream, from today's show. So let me know what else you guys are thinking. It's been a very, very good stream. I'm happy I was able to get on kind of on a Monday midday. Here in the States, we have off for Dr. Martin Luther King Day. So really, really happy I could come on. We got some good numbers popping in, giving some insight. Need to get my damn chat box back up. Ultimately, Marseille game this Wednesday. I'm going to try to either get on a stream or record a video of some sort following the Marseille game. That's going to be a huge result. I don't even think, or a huge match rather. I don't even think people are fully, like, really thinking about how important of a match that is for us. We'll see, man. I really hope we get a result. We get a win. Really would like if someone two-footed Mason Greenwood. That little rat. But yeah. I think that the Mark Gahey was the big transfer from today. I haven't seen any other massive transfers or anything like that. I've seen that the NBA, I guess they're having a couple games out in England. That's definitely pretty freaking cool. I saw Van Dijk was at the game, Saliba, Declan Rice. Sorry, I'm looking up Champions League right now. Where the hell is the Champions League so I can react to a couple of the matches this upcoming midweek? Maybe one of the most the biggest games coming out of the Champions League this upcoming week. We have Manchester City against Bodo Glimt. That's going to be just absolutely massive. On Tuesday, Napoli's playing a team. It's not Copenhagen. Oh, we got Inter against Arsenal. That will be a very, very big game, of course. Very, very big game. Not entirely sure where Inter are on in the table, but I know Arsenal are top of the table, so that will be a game Arsenal will probably want to win to just further definitize that. Real Madrid against Monaco. Fairly big game. Real haven't been playing their best, so of course that will be important for them. Sporting against PSG, I'd expect PSG. Spurs against Dortmund, that's a big one. I don't know why this does not list Liverpool against Marseille, but I know there's some other games. Maybe it did, and I just didn't see. Oh, no, here we go. Wednesday we got Galatasaray against Atletico. That'll be a fairly good game as well, I believe. Chelsea are playing Paphos. Chelsea should win that. Liverpool, Marseille, obviously a big game as well. Newcastle, PSV. That will be a fun game, I think. Standing wise, Arsenal, like I said, are top of the table. Inter 6th. So this will be a game that I think both of them obviously will really, really want to win. Arsenal, I think if they win, they'll make it through. They'll just probably either clinch the playoff rounds if they haven't already. But definitely that would be a big result for Arsenal. Big result as well for Inter if they were able to get that done. So... all right, we'll give it one or two more just for any potential chats that come in. Let me know what you guys have to say. If we got anyone else that has anything they want to say, otherwise we'll end the stream. But I'll keep going as long as you guys have any other topics that you'd like me to cover. Good stream. Shout out to you guys that... subscribed as well and were participating in the chat. I really, really do appreciate it. It was a lot of fun. I've gained a couple subscribers. I'm like, based on what I'm seeing right now on my back end, on my app, on my phone, I'm 16 subscribers away from 1,000 subs, which is really, really cool. That's gonna be one hell of a day when I hit 1,000 subs. I genuinely cannot wait for that. That'll be awesome. But alright, if we don't have any more chats, thank you guys very, very much for joining the stream today. Like I said, please like this video so it goes out to anyone else who's watching. Subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell, watch some of my other videos. Follow me on all my social medias. And, yeah, thank you guys so much. See you on the next one. Bye.